Rob, maybe you want to switch to the live tool, and the idea later on is potentially we'll use the tool to play with the tool to look at various things. So the tool it uses the map of the world as a conduit. So Google Earth, if you're familiar with that, then it has similar functionality. You can go and zoom in on anything. You can go and look at states within a particular country. You won't find your house, but it has all that similar functionality. But what we've done is put ourselves in the minds of companies and organizations and governments and asked ourselves, what data do they need or use to make decisions? And we've gone and collected that data. So it's all publicly available data, and you can see some of it here, about 1,000 items of data. And as you know, there's loads of publicly available data. I think people just don't know where to find it. And what we've done is collected it in a particular way. And then we've come up with some clever tools that display that data in different ways across the map of the world. So if we just do, Ralph's doing a heat map, going to get the GDP growth item, and then he'll put that on the map of the world. And what the tool does is it makes data come alive visually. And people, I haven't really met anyone yet who doesn't prefer a visual sort of conversation or a visually stimulated conversation to something in a spreadsheet. You can see it takes the data, throws it on the map of the world, and this is GDP growth, and you can immediately see how emerging markets are growing quicker than developed markets. You could go and zoom in on Europe and have a more closer look at Europe, for instance. Yeah. But what this tool has done for us is enable fluid conversations. That you can go and have a conversation with someone, and the sky's your limit. You can go in any direction. You can look at any country in the world. You can look at any data item. And then quite importantly, you can start to combine data items. Maybe if we switch to the PowerPoint deck just to save time there. In fact, Ralph, go back to what you were doing there. So what Ralph did there was he took that GDP growth and he filtered it. So he said, well, let's only look at economies that are growing by more than 3.5%. And it filtered out the rest of the world. So the functionality of being able to filter things and visually see the result of it, very impactful. If we jump to the PowerPoint deck, then what we're then able to do is combine various items of data together. So this one is a filtered map of the world looking at countries where life expectancy is less than 65 years, where health expenditure per capita is less than $100, and literacy rates are below 70%. So you start to combine different items of data, and now it reorganizes the rest. So in this context, India is the best, but you assume you're looking for the worst, so your focus should be on Mali, Niger, and Chad. And the type of conversations this is unlocking, firstly for companies, is it's mind-blowing for them, because companies, they just don't have a good appreciation of the world. And they ignore Africa because someone on their board thinks Africa's a basket case, so they never even go there. This tool is unlocking, it's clearing the decks. They've got trust in the data, it's a clear tool. They're not carrying any baggage into meetings. So the other feature of the tool, if we jump forward, Ralph, is we've got about 6,000 company footprints in the tool. So we've plotted where companies operate in the world. And we're able to contrast and compare. So this is Harley Davidson in red and Triumph motorcycles in green. And again, visually putting this in front of someone, it unlocks immediate discussion and insight, because people don't see this visually depicted like this. And I think in the donor funding and the government space, it's also interesting to see where particular types of companies are operating, or donor funds, and doing this in the same way. Next one, Rolf. So we don't have time today to show you, but you can do a lot of other things with the tool, from creating sort of detailed tables to graphing to a custom map that sort of equalizes the size of countries to plotting it more scientifically in what we call a market attractiveness. So quite a lot there. And then just a couple of quick case studies of examples of types of conversations that this can promote. So this is a growth conversation with a company. So first one might look at the company versus several other competitors, so where they are, where they aren't. then taking the company footprint and flipping it, so looking at all the places they're not, and then using some data that might be relevant to their decision making to filter that down and work out where they should be. So just in the space of a few minutes, you can comprehensively challenge a global strategy and come up with not just a handful of countries they should be in, but a weighted order, in which case Oman would be the best place, and you can then go down to some detail. So just a really quick way of filtering, and a good example how data is coming to life in making that sort of thing easy. Next one, Rolf. The other is a risk-based discussion, and we've got loads of really good risk-based data, from Transparency International's corruption to ease of doing business, political risk, governance risk. And what we've done here is merge all four of those factors together and overlay it against a particular company's footprint. I think this is Barclays' footprint. So you could be having a discussion with any organization about where they are and where they're facing the most risk. Or if this was where you want to invest, where you want to apply donor funds, you could be doing the various risk factors over the countries you're interested in and seeing which one should be played out the most. The other piece is that while we have all that data in there, we're also able to upload any other data that a company or organization might have. So we've been doing some work with MCC quite recently.
What's your color key there?
So the color key is good to bad, green to red. So whichever data item, the best in class in the data is green, and it just takes a color switch through to red being worst. So again, working with organizations to upload data, and we're working with MCC currently to represent some of their great data in the tool and use that in discussions with companies that are looking for insight on particular issues where that data is coming to bear. That's risk, and then I think the next one is from a government viewpoint. Use this tool with governments. Particular example, I ran a session with the Mozambique government, who wanted to benchmark themselves to other countries in Africa, but particularly to Ghana, who was attracting lots of investment. There was a lot of noise around Ghana and doing a lot better. So Ghana in green, Mozambique not so much. And quite quickly you're able to model what are the different factors that are coming out here, and quite quickly we were able to see that the strength of the legal system in Mozambique versus Ghana was a substantial gap, and that might be something to work on. So again, using something like this visually in a government context really unlocks some quick wins and quick insights. Okay. And then this was some examples of MCC, looking at MCC threshold and compact programs around where they're operating, and looking through the lens of the map around some immunization scores from MCC. So again, a nice example of working with organizations to bring their data through and make it relevant in the public eye and useful to broader discussions. So I think that's the last slide, is there? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's the last slide. It's a pretty basic tool, but that really has unlocked some fantastic conversations. And it's not about the tool; it's about a group of people standing around, having a fresh map of the world, some great data they can pull in and pull out as they need. And you're amazed, well, I'm certainly amazed at the conversation that happens, the insights, the wows. That they're able to take, and you put it up, it's an immediate screenshot you can take and go and use in another context, and we've had a lot of fun in doing it, and hopefully we'll be using that a little bit later in looking at some different things in the context of the challenges that we've been put today.
Great. Thank you.